earth as in heaven, right here in my heart. Father, let your kingdom come. Father, let your will be done, on earth as in heaven, right here in my heart.
Very happy Easter to all of you on our virtual pilgrimage. We have now made it to Easter Monday. And of course, Easter is so important that it lasts for an entire 8 days. So on this day, we wanted to come and introduce you to some of the faces that have made the virtual pilgrimage of prayer possible. And before I introduce them, or actually let them introduce themselves, I wanted to tell you where we are. Look closely behind us. You might see some candles lit in a space that looks like a tomb. And here behind me, you can see a light and a round stone. What they've done here at the Christian Information Center is they've put together a multi-media presentation about the resurrection. And so they made a model of what the tomb would have looked like, where Christ was laid, and where the women found the tomb on Easter morning. And so we've come with these women here to the tomb to speak about the resurrection, to speak about prayer. And so in the Christian Information Center, when you come to the Holy Land, you can actually not only come to the tomb, you can go to Gethsemane, you can see the way of the cross through ancient Jerusalem. You can visit a lot of places, and I think Sister can tell us more about that in a moment. So let me introduce the faces here. We have Alessandra Soldati, and Alessandra is from Italy, and she has been behind the camera. She'll tell us more about that. Sister Naomi, she is here at the Christian Information Center. And then we have Natalia. She is one of our fantastic contacts to bring us in touch. Will actually open the doors to everything that's Orthodox, from Greeks to Russians to everyone, and she has been such a key part of this pilgrimage. So ladies, let's go ahead and start here to my right. Natalia, if you could introduce yourself to all of our virtual pilgrims, tell us who you are and a little bit about your background in Russia as well.
All right. So, hello everyone. Happy Easter. My name is Natalia Goncharova, and I'm Russian. And I came from Russia. I live here in the Holy Land, in Jerusalem, actually in the Old City. Are more than 5, I think, years, and in total here more than 10 years. So my presence in the Holy Land. And I studied in the Moscow Theological Institute of Postgraduate Studies. I had been doing my master program there under external church relations, and then I studied and I graduated in Switzerland, in Geneva, in the Boston University, Boston Ecumenical University from the World Council of Churches. So this is my theological background, let's say.
I wanted just to explain that she speaks also Natalia is a nickname, many languages. And so she has a lovely little girl named Maria, and she knows the different Orthodox churches here in Jerusalem, as well as some of the little hidden treasures all around the city. Can you tell us what your favorite part of Jerusalem is, or if you have a favorite church or chapel that helps you to pray, since we are in a pilgrimage of prayer?
So yeah, that's true. That here, especially in the Old City, there's a lot of hidden treasures. Oh. We have a lot of Orthodox churches which are not that well known, because when pilgrims, they come here, they mostly go to Gethsemane Garden or to their Holy Sepulchre. Yeah. To pray in the tomb, but there's really a lot of small convents and small churches on the streets. Mm-hmm. And actually I'm living inside of one of them, the St. Nicholas Convent, which is next to the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate, and it is such an incredible experience to live inside the church, let's say, mm-hmm. and to have so many different churches and convents around you. Like literally, you get out yourself from the house, and you have like 20 or 30 holy places around you. So it cannot be any different, but only help for you for your personal prayer.
So now, Sister Naomi, or Naomi.
Yes.
I always say it in the wrong language. Can you introduce yourself and tell all of our pilgrims what you were doing here in Jerusalem, and maybe explain a little bit more about the Christian Information Center?
Okay, yes, I can do that. I'm Sister Naomi Zimmerman. I'm from an American congregation, the Franciscan Sisters of the Eucharist, and our community came in 1978 to the Holy Land. We're a relatively new community. Our foundation is 1973, which I think is about the same time your community.
Yes, we were 1969.
Okay. So our Mother General always wanted to be in the heart of the church, and we started a center in Rome and Assisi because we are Franciscan, and then here in the Holy Land to be at the birthplace of the church. And so I came in permanently in 2000. I had come back and forth a couple times before that, but mostly to work, to be with the community, but also to help develop our program, which is in Beit Zahor. Started in Bethlehem, the Holy Child program. So it's a school for children with psychological disturbances.
I think part of what you do actually is you have a whole area, if I'm not mistaken, of your congregation that works with psychology. Is that correct, or in a certain way?
It is. I think our community came out of the renewal of religious life, particularly in the United States, and I think there were many sisters, who were called to be religious women, but the congregations either were teachers or nurses, and these women had such amazing talents that were in other areas, and so the doors were open to study scripture and spirituality, psychology. We, as Franciscans, St. Francis is called to rebuild the church, but the church are the people, and so we really feel that we are to help rebuild the people, to help restore a sense of the sacred in their lives that might be broken in some way. And so counseling was a logical outreach of that. A lot of our sisters continued in education, but the women who enter our community, usually if they've been in a profession that is incorporable into the community, they remain. So we have sisters who are, I have to tell you one story. We had a sister who was a prison guard in a maximum security prison. That's not real incorporable. So when she entered the initial stages of the community, of course, she no longer can carry a weapon. But eventually she went into law, and she is now a lawyer, and she worked with migrant law for years.
As a sister?
As a sister, yeah. So it's, your talents are developed and enhanced so that you can really, according to your mission, serve the church within the bigger mission of the community.
Beautiful. So here in the Holy Land, I know you've done several things, and currently here in the Christian Information Center, I think many people who come might not know it. I know pilgrim guides know it well, but what is it for? What is it? What's its service?
Okay, the Christian Information Center, we last year celebrated 50 years of service. To pilgrims, mostly to pilgrims, but also to the other Christian denominations. So that's why it's called Christian Information Center, not Franciscan Information Center. It is run by the Franciscans, the custody of the Holy Land, but we provide for pilgrims information on all the different churches, the Orthodox churches, opening hours, mass schedules, the Protestant faiths, different traditions.
Even like common sites in the national park system, right?
That's right. We have a very good working relationship with the national parks of Israel, and there are many places within the parks. I shouldn't say many places. There are places within the parks where they're very open to having groups come and do organized prayer, or even to have Catholic masses.
Yes, we've seen some altars sort of set up in different places, like at the baptismal site, I think also in Kursi, of all places, up on the Sea of Galilee, right? So yeah, I love that in this pilgrimage, we've been able to see the different expressions of Christianity, because so many of them have been shaped by history, by culture, but all of them bring us right here, right back to this message, right back to the tomb where our Lord has been risen. So both of you have been so important, and it's an honor for us to think that you're helping us where you're actually the ones that are participating. It's thanks to both of you that we've been able to do this. So, and really thousands of people do see this. So Alessandra, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you've been doing in the pilgrimage and what your experience has been? Because just so that you know, we haven't had our media team since October 7th, of course. The majority of the volunteers who help us in Magdala with our Magdala media team have left. They haven't been here. And so Alessandra has actually been behind the scenes in another pilgrimage. I think it was the pilgrimage of Healing and Hope. But this time, she and I were the only people out in the field. And so she has been behind the scenes. So tell us your experience. And, well, first of all, who you are.
Okay. I'm Alessandra Soldati. I'm Italian. I'm consecrated in Regnum Christi since 27 years. And I'm here in the Holy Land. I arrived the first time December 2004.
Just to clarify that, the first team or first group of legionaries and consecrated women that came to the Holy Land when they asked the legionaries to take Notre Dame of Jerusalem Center included Alessandra. So she's been here since then.
So I started to live in Notre Dame Jerusalem Center, and now I'm part of the community, of the team, the community in Magdala. So as Kathleen says, there was no volunteer after October 7th, so we need to film. The virtual pilgrimage is very important. It's part of Magdala. So I help. So for me, it was a really great experience because we went to places that I never visit, thanks to Natalia, Sister Naomi. And I met people, priests, nuns, sisters, the Russian, the Greek fathers, the Franciscan fathers. Some I already know them, and some new. Some young Franciscan or priest or sisters. So for me, it was really a blessing to know more the Holy Land. I love the Holy Land so much. So, and I thank Kathleen because I have this experience to contact the people in the Holy Land. It was really amazing. So, and
yes, so you'll notice, okay, so any of the camera angles, there I am, in front of the camera, Alessandra walking backwards, occasionally down a step or into a wall. It's not easy to do a pilgrimage like this with just one person behind the cameras, also with the audio. And then we've had a couple of people help, doing some of the editing behind the scenes, but she's really been a key part of this. And so thank you, Alessandra. I don't know if you have, since we have seen some places which aren't, the normal places for most Western pilgrims to come to. Did you find a place that you most liked or something, or a couple of places that most struck you?
I love so much all what is related to St. Mary of Egypt. Oh, because some years ago, I started to discover her, and now, just only now, thank you thanks to the pilgrim, I find the place, the icon that she saw, the Theotokos.
That's part of the Cathedral of St. James, is that right?
That's right. It is a part of the Cathedral of St. James, which I mentioned. They're at a Orthodox church next to the Holy Sepulchre, and they do have still the icon of Holy Mary, which was hanged there above the entrance to the Holy Sepulchre, in front of which St. Mary of Egypt gave her wool. That if the Holy Mary will let her in, like when she couldn't enter to the church, if she let her in, she'll abandon her previous life, and she will dedicate the rest of her life to the Jesus. So, and after that, she was able to enter the church. And after service, she took the 5 breads, which priest gave her after the service, and she left to the desert, Judean desert, for the rest of her life. Yes.
Oh, it's extraordinary. We were so excited when you told us that's where the icon was.
I love so much every Saturday, so you can go back and review every Saturday the idea that you had to the different our fathers in the different languages, and the people that help us, the people that we interview, the priests, I like Gethsemane Grotto. So that is
Which grotto? You mean the cave or
cave.
which one?
The Gethsemane Grotto. The Gethsemane Grotto.
And that was one of the
So
episodes just in Holy Week, yes,
Yeah,
on
yes,
Wednesday, I
we-
think, or Tuesday.
yes,
Thursday,
we-
sorry, it was Thursday.
It's going to be an episode of the Holy Week. The Gethsemane Grotto, I like it. was one of the Holy Week program.
And Sister Naomi, do you have a place you go to, like your go-to place when you need some time to find the Lord or be found by Him?
Surprisingly, it is the Holy Sepulchre in all its beauty and noise and life, because I feel like it teaches me interior. You have to go interior to be able to really pray there without getting caught. But there is this little place also, the Coptic Church of St. Helens. So if you come, instead of doing the flat entrance of the Via Crucis, if you go up the little stairway by the guy who sells the juice,
Right.
and go up past Mike's place and come around, before you enter the rooftop of the Holy Sepulchre, on the right side is the little chapel of St. Helens. And it's Coptic, as I said. But it's a wooden chapel, this tiny chapel, and it touches my Franciscan heart, first of all, just in its simplicity, and yet in its extravagance of the artwork. And then there's a cave that you can go down into, a cistern, and it backs up to St. Helen's cistern. I mean, it's the cistern of St. Helen. It's all those are connected together. And I just find it a very quiet, spiritual, beautiful place. So I do slip in there whenever when I just want time to pray apart from everything.
I wanted to end up asking each one of you if you could give a message to pilgrims, because the Custos actually told us in his interview that small groups are coming back. And we have had, just the other day, we had a large group of, I believe they were Americans, in Magdala. The war still isn't quite finished, and so it's a very difficult time in many ways. Not that we're in danger, but there's a lot of polarization in society now here. The Holy Land has really been touched and changed. But it is still the Holy Land, and it's always been a place where peace is something that needs to be sought after. So for pilgrims to come, it also helps to hear from those of us who live here. Just a message for each one of you, and we've been praying for you. Do you want to go ahead and start? If you have a message for our virtual pilgrims.
I can say that the pilgrim are a bit the hope of the Holy Land. When you come looking for Jesus, also help us that we live here to see Jesus. So I invite you to pray for peace a lot, that, and then come back, because this is the fifth gospel. You walk in the gospel in the Holy Land. So I hope this can happen soon.
It's so true, the fifth gospel. And our hearts are changed just by being here. I mean, we're different people. I think my message would be, a lot of people, because the Information Center, we take a lot of calls from people saying, are the celebrations still happening? Is there going to be the Way of the Cross this Friday because it's war? Or was the Palm Sunday procession going to even happen? And yes, we need it. I mean, we are the faith that brings hope. I mean, we know that at the end of our toils and our sufferings, that we have the empty tomb. We have the promise of resurrection, and we hold that in a country that's so faithful and so devoted in different religions, but we are the ones who have the promise of hope and the life to come.
I completely agree.
My message to the people would be a wish, a sincere wish from all my heart, to make an effort and to visit a Holy Land, to visit Jerusalem at least once in your life, Because as we used to say that God is everywhere, right? And in each one of the countries and cities, there are so many churches, there are so many holy places, and we can pray anywhere. We can pray from home, we can pray from our neighbor, the church in the neighborhood. But still, we are humans, and it is our nature. We look for a sensual experience as well, and we look for confirmation, and we look for something. We look for the depths also. We look for something what can help us to go deeper into our spiritual experience. And I don't know any another place which could be that much helpful in this journey as Jerusalem, as a Holy Land. And I know personally so many people whose journey, the spiritual journey, and they believe to our God Jesus Christ began from Jerusalem.
Well, you see the unity of the Christian message in Jerusalem, different languages, different cultures, and that's why when you look at these women, okay, I'll put myself together with them here, the women who come to the tomb to find the Lord. Where is his body? He has risen. He gave that message to Mary Magdalene. She's the one who was commissioned to take it to the apostles. It's that same message which is spread throughout the world. And of course, that's something we celebrate on that second Saturday after Easter, is that celebration of Mary Magdalene. So at least liturgically speaking, right, in terms of the gospel that were read. Now, we want to also keep the Orthodox churches in our prayers because they're still in the midst of Lent, the Holy Lent, because their Easter this year, I think, is in May, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so we just completed the first week of our Great Lent. There's 4 more.
Yes, so you see, it's an extension of this, and so it's just wonderful to be able to understand the history and the culture, like I was saying, and the richness of Christianity all over the world. And I think it just talks about the richness also of our Lord's heart. So thank you, ladies, very much for all of your help and also helping us, all of us, to love and appreciate Jerusalem and also understand how profound it can be to meet the Lord in prayer. Dear virtual pilgrims, I want to welcome you to Magdala. We've come all the way from Jerusalem here to the shores of the Sea of Galilee, and it's because I wanted to introduce you to some more people that have been part of our team. As you can imagine, putting together a virtual pilgrimage every day during Lent takes more than just 1 or 2 people, certainly more than just the person who's in front of the camera and the person behind the camera, but also these 2 wonderful people who are with us today. And you might recognize Father Eamon Kelly, who's been part of Magdala from its beginning. And of course, here on screen, we have Maria Teresa from Mexico. And so I would like to introduce them both and ask them to share with us how they have been accompanying not just myself, but each and every one of you during this time of Lent and now as we enter into the Easter season. So why don't we start with Mexico? Since this is a virtual pilgrimage and it's international, tell us first of all a little bit about yourself, how you got involved with Magdala, and what your role has been during a virtual pilgrimage of prayer.
Yes, of course. I am Maria Teresa Curi from Mexico. I am part of a group of volunteers that work for Magdala from Mexico. And before Lent, someone asked me if I could help with the social media in Magdala English. So that is how I got to do this with you this Lent, which has made me very, very, very happy.
Well, it certainly gets you involved with not just the Spanish pilgrimage, which I'm assuming in the past you followed the Spanish language pilgrimage here from Magdala. Have you been able to follow any of the English virtual pilgrimages before?
No, I really didn't follow them before. I followed every other pilgrimage from Mexico. I mean, the Spanish one. Mm-hmm. This is the first one because a friend invited me. We were confined. Everybody was confined, so it was a very good way to spend the confinement. No, for me, it was great. So I followed each and every pilgrim, but in Spanish.
Right. Well, now,
in Spanish.
Have you been here to Magdala before? In
person? Yes.
Yes, I thought so.
Yes. I was last year before the war it was a privilege to be there in May, in the last days of May, and it was a dream come true. I really enjoy that journey. It was something I wanted so much to do, so God gave me that privilege.
I'm blessed to be 17 years here in the Promised Land, because I was born in the Holy Land of Ireland, and I work here in the Promised Land. So after 10 years living in Jerusalem, but always working with the Magdala project, also I'm now about 7 years living here in Magdala. And so I think the first role I had in the pilgrims was praying for the pilgrims, praying for the team involved. All things like pilgrimages and like any moment of prayer, primarily it's God's work. Obviously, the stable part I had formally in the pilgrimage was celebrating the daily Eucharist. And we know the Eucharist from the main Christian understanding of East and Western Christianity for 1500 years and still today, is that the Eucharist is the absolute peak of prayer, because we are at Christ's prayer. His "into your hands I commend my spirit," because we are there through the Eucharist. This is my body given up for you. This is my blood poured out for the new covenant. Do this in memory of me. So we're really in the presence of Christ and interacting with him. So leading the Eucharistic celebration is a very core, it would be a climax. And also we've learned, especially in the teaching of Vatican II, that the Eucharist is the source and the summit of all of our activities. So in that sense, the Eucharist sources the pilgrimage, and the pilgrimage climaxes there in taking the bread and wine to the altar that are transformed and hearing God's word proclaimed in the liturgy. And then also maybe it has been stimulating for some people to participate in the sunrise stroll and chat each morning at the Sea of Galilee. So that's an opportunity also to touch on the readings of the day, and just to be there in Galilee where Jesus at the lakeside and up in Mount Arbel. Those are very beautiful moments. And then maybe also responding to some people's questions or comments, or maybe not responding personally always, but oftentimes in the course of the following sunrise stroll and chat, or in the homily, there's also a response to the people's input into the pilgrimage as well.
I suppose when you came last year, beautiful time of year to come in May, by the way, were you able to identify one of your favorite places in Jerusalem that helped you to pray? Because it's always hard to pinpoint a place. But if we talk about Jerusalem, which has been our focus, what can you share with us?
There are so many places, and we visited so many places, and each one of them had their special feeling in my heart. But I think that being in the Holy Sepulchre or in the Calvary, there we had a mass in the little chapel beside the Calvary, there where you can touch where the cross was, that had very great memories in my heart and in my spirit. I remember that mass with a feeling of increased faith in my heart. It was very, very special, but it's difficult to say, because in each place that we went, very special feelings felt in my heart.
Yes.
Tere,
Awesome.
what's your experience with social media? And is this a whole new thing that you started doing?
No, not really. I don't have. I really don't have any. This was just like. I mean, they just asked somebody that speak English and could help Kathleen, and a friend. I was an English teacher in my town, in my little town in Mexico, where I went to live with my husband after we got married. So I was the English teacher there. So a friend who is another volunteer said, "No, I have the perfect person for that," and she just threw me to the basket. So that is why I don't have any special ability. I mean, it was a challenge, but I hope I did it all right, because I was very, very glad to help in that way, because I put all myself in service. I said, God, wherever you want me, I'll be there. So it was a challenge, but it was a very nice one. I received so much through the comments and through this pilgrimage with Kathleen and with you, Father. So I am very grateful.
And so thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for our drawing, and know that as usual here from the Holy Land, we've been praying for each and every one of you. And just remember, when you pray the Our Father, all of us here pray those same prayers, those same petitions, and we're very united in the risen Lord. Alleluia, alleluia. He is risen. And God bless you.